I'm a program officer with Mass Humanities, and we're really exciting to be able to bring this exhibit to you in partnership with local, state, national partners. So if you don't know, Mass Humanities creates opportunities for the people of Massachusetts to transform their lives and build a more equitable Commonwealth through the humanities. We were able this year to provide support for over 100 organizations, and we're bringing this, Museum on Main Street, otherwise known as MOMS, which is not my favorite acronym, but that's what it's called. And this is an exciting partnership with the Smithsonian Traveling Exhibits. And this particular exhibit, as you can see, is called Crossroads. And it's going to be touring 6 communities this year. And this is the 3rd community. So it started in Essex, and it was in Hull, and now it's in Rutland. And from Rutland, it's going to go to Turners Falls, Sheffield, and then Athol. And really, the reason that we're doing this is because Mass Humanities believes that small local organizations are essential to creating positive change for their communities. I'm sure you all being here at the library can attest to the importance of that. So MOMS, or Museum on Main Street, as I said, is a federal, state, local partnership that brings the support through the NEH, the National Endowment for the Humanities, and expertise from the Smithsonian to local communities through the statewide coordination of our foundation and the resources that we provide at Mass Humanities. I'm really also thankful here to be joined by our partners in partnership with Senator Ann Goby, Representative Kimberly Ferguson, and their support of the Mass Cultural Council and Mass Humanities, and our federal support from the National Endowment for the Humanities. And also, if you've had a chance to have some of the sandwiches and fruit and cookies, Big Y is our statewide sponsor, and so thank you to Big Y and Blue Cross Blue Shield, which is our other state sponsor. We really believe that Massachusetts is dynamic, it's evolving, but also too often underseen and misunderstood by policymakers, funders, deserving of a central place in conversations about the future of the Commonwealth. So that is a quote that we kind of stole from the exhibit, and I hope you can find it and enjoy the content while you're here today. And I also want to thank the Rural Policy Advisory Commission for their help bringing this, to help us shape this program, and also helping us by following the tour of this around the state. So finally, I just want to say thank you to all of you for coming and enjoying the exhibit, and for Carrie, especially for taking on the work of being the project coordinator for this. I know it's a lot. We ask you to do so much, and you really stepped it up when we really asked you to. So thank you for doing that. And I am going to pass it over to Senator Goby, who's going to have a few words with you. Sorry to surprise you.
Is Carrie coming up too?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, and it's wonderful to be here. I had mentioned, unfortunately, Rep. Ferguson, she lost an uncle, and his services were all today, so that's why she's not here. But I know that she'll be stopping in because this is here for another month, which is awesome. And I think it's fantastic that this has dovetailed so well with the anniversary for Rutland. What a great way to end the year, but also to bring in the new year as well. And there's absolutely nothing more important than understanding how important rural America is and our rural areas of Massachusetts. I'm very pleased to serve as a co-chair of the Rural Caucus that we have at the State House. And because sometimes people kind of forget what we're all about, and I think that this exhibit specifically, and I think MUMS is okay. I think that's a good acronym, because when you think about it, right, MUMS do everything, don't they? So I think it's a perfect acronym to have this as MUMS. But I think it's going to be wonderful to have students come through here, and we're talking about that every single student from Rutland, and Carrie, thank you for helping to organize that, to make sure that they will come through this, and to not just learn about rural America, but about their own community. Because so often, right, we kind of forget what's important in our own backyard. And to have this exhibit here and to really bring that, to kind of shine a light on that, is going to be good for all of us. So thank you, Carrie. Thank you to your team, Barbara, Sheila, everyone else that has helped with this for a long time. Because I have to tell you, when I first got a call about this, I really didn't know how, I had trouble kind of imagining what it was going to be like, and they said, well, you know, it's going to be going from town to town, and it's going to be there for a long time, and they got to do a lot of work. I'm there, okay. But you know what? The town of Rutland was up for it, right? This is a community that anytime that they're faced with a challenge, they know how to rise to the occasion and do what needs to be done, and they've done that again with this exhibit. So I'm excited to have it. I'm looking forward to seeing the rest of it, and hopefully more and more people will see it. And so we'll get the word out. We'll put it up on social media and get the word out and get a lot of folks in here. So thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to next pass it over to a representative from the Rural Policy Advisory Commission and have Trish Settles say a few words. You can come up.
Always a tough act to follow. So thanks for inviting us here. My name's Trish Settles. I'm a member of the Rural Policy Advisory Commission for the Commonwealth. But I'm also the Deputy Director of Regional Collaboration and Community Planning with the Central Massachusetts Regional Planning Commission. We're the City of Worcester, 39 surrounding communities, many of which are very rural. So I'm happy to be part of this reception. So happy that Mass Humanities pursued this exhibit and this partnership with the Smithsonian. We were really excited to have, we actually had 2 of our communities applied to host the exhibit. Rutland is very deserving, but at some point stopped by Berlin. They also applied. They would love to see some. They've got a very rich culture as well. So thanks to the hosts here. And in Rutland, we're very excited. We're doing a lot of work in Rutland. We're working on your master plan. So if you see the history boards, we're looking to the future. So at some point they'll be talking about CMRPC and the master plan and all the work that's happening there. But the Rural Policy Advisory Commission, just to give you a little bit of context, Ann talked a little bit about how we're very excited about our rural communities in Massachusetts. The Rural Policy Advisory Commission was created by the legislature in 2015 and is governed under Mass General Law to enhance the economic vitality of our rural communities. In Massachusetts, about 170 of our communities are rural in nature, and the definition of rural for our purposes is a municipality with a population density of less than 500 people per square mile. So nearly half of the municipalities are rural in Massachusetts, but only 13% of the population live in those rural communities. About 59% of the state's land area is rural. A lot of, I'm from Arkansas. People don't think of Massachusetts and New England as rural, but we are very rural. We have we have a very rich rural culture. Our rural areas have very strong assets. The natural beauty, the physical landscapes are breathtaking. I told Janet and Ethan I would work that word into it because it's something that I really feel very strongly about. The rural culture, the rural central Massachusetts is a very breathtaking environment. We have full participation in the movements towards small-scale farming, locally made food and beverage products. We have strong small businesses and economic sectors, albeit different from those inside 128, very different, but we have very rich village centers. Small scale is focused on problem solving and innovation and collaboration, getting work done together. Land and housing stocks are a challenge. Really looking at the land use and how it's going to transition in the future from where it is today. You see. We assume there are 3 typologies for rural in Massachusetts. One is kind of the suburban rural, those bedroom communities of Boston and Worcester, to be honest with you. There's kind of the tourist rural, the Berkshires, the Cape and the Islands. And then there's the more typical, what we think of as rural, which is really the farming communities. And that's where I think what people really look to, what you see in a lot of these images around the walls. Our region hosts all of that. And then some. So we have a lot of those very rural areas. We have the bedroom communities. Maybe less of the tourist stuff, but that's coming. Just wait till they realize how breathtaking we are. Anyway, so there are a number of challenges, but we have a lot of assets here in our rural communities, and we're grappling with them. The demographics. Rural Massachusetts is growing older, which exacerbates the problem of our population decline. The population decline has impacts on our school systems. While there may be less students in the schools, the cost of education is still there. It still takes as much to heat those classrooms. The median income is higher in urban, in metropolitan Boston. The cost of housing is less out here, but the cost of transportation makes those housing costs and the cost of living higher in a lot of ways. So the average earning job in Franklin County is 40% that of what's in the Boston area. I could go on and on and on about the demographics, but I think we're all excited. You're the Rural Policy Advisory Commission working with the Legislative Rural Caucus, constantly trying to get those who are making decisions to consider that factor of rurality when it comes to making decisions, whether it's funding decisions, which are often based on population. We need to be thinking about those funding decisions in a variety of different ways, and so we're working closely with Senator Goby and Representative Ferguson and our other legislators around this Commonwealth to really think about how we think of our communities differently. Anyway, so watch the Rural Policy Advisory Commission page. I know it's not something that pops up on everybody's website all the time, but there's a lot of stuff happening. We're really working with a number of folks. We have our own kind of Central Mass Rural Caucus that we meet on about a quarterly basis to talk about the challenges. So follow CMRPC, follow the Rural Policy, follow Ann's page. It's a great place. It's just to see where Ann's traveling around the region. But happy to answer any other questions as we move forward. And I think somebody else is next.
Thank you, Trish, and thank you to all the other members of the Rural Policy Advisory Commission and the work that you're doing to bring attention to rural communities in the Commonwealth. And I did mention Carrie, who I'm going to ask to come up here, but I didn't mention was the Rutland 300th, and I really need to mention. So thank you, Rutland 300th. I know I was talking to some of you earlier, and you've had a really busy, exciting, fulfilling, sometimes frustrating, I'm sure, but really amazing year. And thank you for all of the committee members who did the work to bring attention again to the town and celebrate, really have what's needed to be celebrated. So thank you all, and for being a partner for this exhibit as well. So I am excited because Carrie's going to tell us what they're going to be doing along with hosting the exhibit, and it's a lot. So Carrie, can you tell us?
Sure. Hi, welcome everybody. The first thing I want to say is I've been thinking about my mother a lot lately. I'm one of 8 children, and my mother did a lot of remodeling, and she obviously had a lot of children. And she told me one time that one of the things about remodeling and having babies was, in the planning stages, it sounds like a really great idea. When you're halfway through it, you're wondering what you actually have done to yourself. But when you're all done, you can't wait to start the next project. And I've been thinking about that a lot because, quite honestly, it's true. When I said that we would do this here, I thought, this sounds like a really great idea. And halfway into it, I thought, what have I done to myself? And now that it's here, I'm really excited about it. I'm not necessarily ready to start another project, but at least ready to complete this one in the way it should be done here in Rutland. So we have 6 really awesome programs that we have designed around Rutland. And the first one is a book club. We're going to read The Pioneers by David McCullough, and we're going to discuss the westward expansion. And I'm reading another book in conjunction with it so that I can give a different perspective, how it might have felt to be an Indigenous person during all of that time. The next event is, and many of these events are actually on Sunday afternoons because I understand winter and I also understand people. And you want to have them come. And so Sunday afternoon seems like a really good day for people to come. So on January 1st, we're kicking it off with Finish Life in Rutland. And I have learned so much actually in this whole quest for programs. I didn't realize that at one point there were 80% of the population of Rutland was Finnish. So we will all be in for a big treat to learn what they have to say. And then we're having a farmer forum on January 8th, led by John LeBeau, where he's going to interview and actually mediate a conversation between some of the farmers who have figured out how to sustain their farming life and moved on to some kinds of different things or stuck it out with the same things in a different way. So that, I think, will be fascinating. On January 11th, we're having a healthcare talk. That's a Wednesday afternoon. Rutland has always taken healthcare very seriously. we had a lot of tuberculosis hospitals at one point, and as much as recently we were the third largest vaccine clinic in the state. So I think Rutland has a lot to be proud of as it comes to health care. So we're going to have some people talk about that, and I think that will be fascinating. We have a gentleman coming in on January 15th to discuss 3 lawsuits as it relates to slavery and abolition in this era, which I think will be absolutely fascinating and really intriguing. So I'm curious to see how many people will come and hear that interesting talk. And we're closing it up on the 22nd with a Taste of Rutland, which I'm hoping will be like a farmer's market. And we're coordinating some other activities, story time with Stone Soup. We're going to make a community soup, and we're going to have some other interesting things go on. So I'm hoping that we're going to be very busy, and people are going to continue to come here to our library and see our fabulous display in conjunction with the 300th people and the 300th committee. And this is an awesome way for, I think, to close out the ceremony of 300 fabulous years in Rutland. Thank you all so much.
And that concludes all of our speaking, but please stay and please check out the exhibit, not only the Smithsonian exhibit, but the local exhibit as well, that you can see on the walls surrounding and also in the room next door. And there's plenty of food, so please come and enjoy. And thank you for coming tonight. Thanks.